Just kind of went into the Senior Bowl. Just wanted to do the same thing I wanted to do here. I felt like I played good all week. And it kind of gave me some confidence and momentum coming in this week.
Still the same weight you were at the Senior Bowl? Or did you check in?
Yeah, weighed in 242.
Okay, is that where you want to be?
Yeah.
Specifically with the pass coverage, what did you take from Super Bowl, Senior Bowl week, as far as like where you can improve?
I felt like passing, pass coverage. I felt like I did pretty good. You can always improve. I went in there just wanting to, see what it's like competing with the best of the best, and I felt like I did pretty good. Always can improve, but I took a lot out of it and got a lot of confidence.
Did you come out of that week feeling like, I can do this, I belong?
Oh, for sure. The first day of practice, I kind of went out there and I was like, didn't really know what to expect. And by the end of the week, I felt very confident, knowing that I could play at that level.
Were the other guys from Alabama or Wisconsin, were they looking at your helmet and saying, where are you from?
A little bit when I first got there. When you step on that field, it's not where you're from, it's where you're going, and everyone knows that, and everyone wants to go to the next level, and so it doesn't matter if you're wearing Wisconsin, Alabama, Michigan, or Lindenwood.
Did you talk to Pierre Zier at all about what to expect?
I did. I've been talking to him kind of just after the season, throughout this whole process. He's been a huge support. Just giving me a lot of pointers on really just the Senior Bowl and the Combine, and I've taken a lot from him.
Anything in particular, in general, that he told you as far as how you should approach it? Or?
No, just to keep doing what I've been doing, stay confident. As he said, it's going to be tiring weeks, but it's all going to pay off. And so he's been a huge support.
You're from Kansas City?
Yes, sir.
Originally, how did you end up over in the St. Louis side?
I was kind of under-recruited out of high school, and my biggest thing is I just wanted to play early. A lot of the bigger D1 schools were telling me that it's going to be a couple years before they saw me making a substantial role in their team, and so I was like, I just want to go out there, play as much as I could, and then they would, told me I'd come in and compete for the starting spot, and I did that, and I knew at the end of the day, if you're good enough, they'd find you, and so it's worked out really well.
What D1 schools were talking to you?
I was talking to Northern Illinois, KU, K-State. I was talking to Mizzou a little bit.
Why was it important to play right away? Are you an impatient guy or what?
No, I just love the game of football, and some of the bigger schools were telling me it's gonna be a couple years, and I played every year in high school. I never really sat out, so I was like, I don't want to do that now. I just want to play as much as I can. And at the end of my 4 years, if I'm good enough, they'll find me. If not, at least I knew that I played as much as I could.
And you started right away, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And you won the Cliff Harris Award,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's a huge honor. So many great players in D2. To win that award, to go down to Little Rock and meet Cliff Harris, meet a bunch of ex-NFL players. It was a huge honor, huge blessing.
Is that like a banquet or dinner?
Yeah, so it's a big banquet. There's a bunch of different awards for a bunch of schools in Arkansas, but the main award was the Cliff Harris Award. And it was really cool to listen to Cliff kind of tell his story and to accept that award.
Lindenwood's going to retire the trophy, I guess. Did Pierre win it a couple years ago?
Pierre won it. He's the first ever to win it, and then I won it a few years later. So, yeah, Lindenwood's got two guys that won it. It's pretty cool.
Now you talk about Division II football, man. The MIAA doesn't seem like Division II football.
No.
How did that prepare you?
The MIAA is the best conference in Division II. A lot of people call it the SEC. Division II. You look at the past few years, there's been a ton of guys that have come out of there and played really well in the NFL. John Brown, Brandon Williams, Pierre. There's quite a list. And so, playing against that competition, and obviously there's a jump. Going to the Senior Bowl, there's a jump, but it wasn't a jump that I could control and take in. So I think it definitely prepared me.
What did you take from that week in particular? What kind of feedback do you have from the coaches and areas that you took?
They didn't really tell me a whole lot to what to improve on. I kind of just came out of there wanting to improve everything. I got really good feedback from a lot of coaches, especially coming here. They told me I had a really good Senior Bowl and to keep it up. And I'm just going to keep working on my game and improving every way I can.
Growing up in the Kansas City area, who was your team growing up, and who were some of the players you grew up watching?
Oh, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. And obviously, I grew up in Lee Summit, which is 10 minutes from the stadium. So I just grew up always going to the games. I didn't really have a favorite player growing up. I really just liked anything Chiefs. So that was my team growing
I
up.
don't want to get too far ahead, but if you were happening to go to the Chiefs, what would it mean to you to run out an Arrowhead out of that tunnel and be a
It would be a dream come true. Like I said, I went to a ton of those games growing up. The atmosphere is, no other stadium matches, the fans at Kansas City, and to be part of those fans, and then to get a chance to run out, with that jersey on would be something special.
Have you talked with Kansas City at all?
Yeah, I have a little bit. And it's been really cool just to be able to chat with them and kind of get their interest a little bit. It's been an honor.
Do you know if you're going to go to the local pro day?
I do not know that yet.
My last question, just fans that haven't watched you play or can't find highlights or clips like they do with all the guys now, how would you describe yourself as a player?
I think I just have a passion for the game that not a lot of people have. I take pride in my effort, not taking a play off. I think that's kind of what separates me from some guys. I just love the intensity of the game. I love finding the ball and making the tackle. That's my job, and so I take pride in that every play.
You were talking about your week in Mobile. What did you take away from working with the Bears coaching staff that week? And have you talked to them since then?
I chatted a little bit with linebackers coach. It was just a really cool opportunity to go down there and have them coach us for a week. Coach Fox and all their staff was awesome. It was pretty laid back, but they definitely helped me out a lot in my game. Just watching film after practice, continue to work on a lot, and I got a lot of positive feedback that I can keep moving forward.
And obviously, if I'm not mistaken, Pierre was the first from Lindenwood to be drafted into the NFL. When did it kind of hit you that you had a legit shot that you could be next?
I'd say probably just this past season, having scouts come and talk to me and all throughout the year, and just kind of getting that attention and telling me, you're going to have a shot, and I just kind of ran with it and accepted that.
Is Lindenwood going to have a pro day, or are you going to hook up somewhere else?
I'm still trying to figure that out right now.
Really?
So we'll see how tomorrow goes, and then we'll go from there.
If you test and run really well, would maybe not have a pro day?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I'm going to just have to talk about with my agent and some of the teams here. He's going to talk to, and I'm really just focused on tomorrow, just trying to do my best.
Sure.
A lot of individual success, obviously, but team success, not a ton. How were you able to stay motivated throughout all that?
I just had great coaches, great teammates. They constantly pushed me to be the best I could be. We didn't have the success as a team that we wanted, but every day we came to work. I just try to enjoy every moment and work hard for those guys.
Where did you go to high school? At Lee Summit?
I went to Blue Spring South.
Blue Spring South? And why do you think you were lightly recruited?
I had a good junior year. I was an all-state player, but I had a breakout senior season. We won a state championship. I don't know exactly why I was kind of under-recruited, but it just happened to work out the way it did, and everything happens for a reason, and it worked out really well.
Is that kind of a motivational thing for you, a chip on the shoulder maybe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just being a small school guy here, I feel like there's always that chip on your shoulder that you got to prove something, prove that you belong here. Same thing in high school, not getting D1 offer that I wanted, and I had that chip on the shoulder that I wanted to prove everyone that I could have played at that level and can continue to play on the next.
So it sounds like you're not maybe necessarily surprised at all that you're at this level, or?
No, it's something you always dream about. I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I wouldn't say that I knew this was coming. This is a huge blessing to be here. A lot of guys want to be here. Very few are invited, so I wouldn't say it's something that was guaranteed for sure, but it's definitely an honor.
Do you have a relationship with you wanted to go to K-State with Elijah and
Yeah,
do you have a relationship with those guys?
They were a couple years younger than me.
Right.
I didn't really have a relationship with them, but I knew I followed them after I went off to Lindenwood, and they were great players. They had a great team. They won a couple state championships, and they're having a ton of success at K-State. And Elijah Lee coming to the draft, and he's going to do great things at the next level.
18 reps on the bench press. Was that about what you expected?
No, I was a little disappointed. All training, I've hit around 23, and to come in and kind of lose a couple reps there at the end. A little disappointed for myself, but sometimes that's how it rolls. And you kind of got to roll with the punches, and I got to forget about it and get ready for tomorrow.
And where have you been training at, and what has that schedule been looking like?
I've been training here in Indy up at St. Vincent Sports Performance. I've been there since January 1st, and then obviously I took the week off for the Senior Bowl. But it's been a grind. It's been awesome. I had great strength staff, great medical and nutritional staff, and they prepared me well for today and this week.
What's it been like? What was it like bench pressing in front of a crowd?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little different, but you kind of get into the moment and you kind of block everything out. It's a quick minute or two that it takes you to do it, and when you realize it's over, then it's over. So it was a cool environment, really really awesome.
What do you enjoy most about the game? What would you say when maybe the scouts or the coaches ask you about that?
I just love going out and competing. I think football is the greatest team sport there is. Just going out, especially in college and high school, you develop relationships with those guys that come from all different areas, of the United States, and you come together as a family and play for one another. And it's just a unique game that not a lot of people get to experience and understand, especially at the collegiate level and into the NFL. And so I just love just getting together with those guys to try and win and compete.
I know you still got another day here. Has this experience been what you expected so far?
Yeah, I didn't know really what to expect. I talked to Pierre. I talked to a couple of guys that have been through this process, and they just said get ready because it's tiring. It's long days, and it definitely has been. It hasn't been easy, but at the same time, I'm just enjoying it. Working hard, and at the end of the day, tomorrow when it's all said and done, I'm driving back to St. Louis. I just want to leave with no regrets. Just leave it all out on the field, and whatever happens, happens.
You going back to school then?
Going back to school, yeah.
Or you're not still enrolled or anything, right?
No, I graduated this past December. I'm going to go there and work out.
What's your major?
I got a degree in criminal justice, and then I minored in psychology and sociology.
You said you met with Kansas City. Was that the Senior Bowl or was that here?
With the Senior Bowl. Yeah.
Couple more questions, guys. What do you feel separates you from the other linebackers in this class? What do you bring to the field that maybe others don't?
I don't know too much about a lot of the guys. I just try and focus on what I can do. I just feel like I have a nose for the ball. I don't know if other guys do or not, but I just feel like my passion for the game and my effort kind of separates me from a lot of different players.
Will you be training now back in St. Louis between now and the draft, or will you come back here?
I'll be training in St. Louis. That's cool.
It's a good look. I'm from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.